My name is Mark, and I am 62 years old. I still remember the sound of laughter drifting out of my son's house that night. It cut through the cold air and pierced straight into my chest. Because just an hour earlier, my son had called me and said, "Dad, I'm really sorry, dinner is cancelled, something came up." So why was the house glowing with warm lights? Why could I hear forks clinking against plates? And voices, happy, familiar voices, sharing a meal without me. That night, I learned that betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people you raised with your own hands. The lonely drive. I live alone in a small apartment on the edge of town. Since my wife Helen passed away 3 years ago, the world has felt quieter, too quiet, the kind of silence that sits beside you at the table and stares back while you eat. My son Daniel is all I have left. He's 35 now, married with 2 children of his own. I used to believe that meant I was still part of a family. I used to believe that age only changed your hair color, not your place in people's hearts. That afternoon, Daniel had called me. "Dad, we're having dinner tonight. The kids want to see you." I felt something inside me light up. I ironed my old blue shirt, the one Helen used to say made my eyes look younger. I even picked up a small box of chocolates for my granddaughter, Lily. I hadn't felt useful in a long time. That invitation made me feel needed. Then, an hour before I was about to leave, my phone rang. "Dad, I'm really sorry, something came up, we'll have to cancel dinner." I told him it was fine, of course I did. Parents always say it's fine, even when it is. But something in his voice felt rushed, distant. I stood there in my pressed shirt, holding the chocolates, feeling foolish. The evening stretched in front of me like an empty road. After a few minutes of packing, I decided to go for a drive, just to clear my head. No destination, just moving forward because sitting still felt unbearable. Without realizing it, my car turned toward Daniel's neighborhood. The light in the window. When I reached his street, I slowed down. His house was glowing. Warm yellow light spilled from the windows. I could see shadows moving inside. And then I heard it. Laughter. The familiar laugh of my son. The soft voice of my daughter-in-law, Emma. The high, joyful giggle of my grandchildren. They were eating. Together. Without me. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. My chest felt heavy, as if someone had placed a stone inside it. I told myself there must be a reasonable explanation. Maybe it was neighbors. Maybe I was mistaken. I parked down the street and walked closer. Through the window, I saw them clearly. Daniel was at the head of the table. Emma was serving food. My grandchildren were fighting over the last piece of bread. And sitting beside them was Emma's mother. So dinner wasn't cancelled. It was just cancelled for me. Standing in the cold, I stood outside their home, invisible. The same house I had helped paint. The same door I had carried furniture through when they first moved in. I remembered teaching Daniel how to ride a bike. I remembered staying up late to help him with school projects. I remembered skipping meals so he could eat better. Now I couldn't even get a seat at the table. I didn't knock. I didn't call. I just stood there for a moment, feeling older than my 62 years, feeling like I had somehow become a burden without realizing when it happened. Then I turned back to my car and drove away. The chocolates sat untouched on the passenger seat. The weight of silence. That night I couldn't eat. I sat at my small kitchen table, staring at a cold bowl of soup. The silence felt louder than any argument. I kept asking myself, had I done something wrong? Was I too boring? Too old? Too much trouble? People talk about loneliness like it's just being alone. But loneliness is feeling unwanted. Days passed, Daniel didn't call. Neither did Emma. I almost called him myself, but pride is a stubborn thing. It tells you to protect your dignity, even when your heart is breaking. Then one afternoon, my phone rang. It was Daniel. The confrontation. "Dad, can we talk?" His voice sounded different, heavy. We met at a small cafe. I noticed he avoided my eyes. His hands fidgeted with the cup in front of him. "I know you came by the house the other night," he said quietly. My heart sank. "So you knew?" He nodded. "Emma saw your car parked down the street." I took a slow breath. "Then why did you lie to me, Daniel?" Silence stretched between us. He finally spoke. "Emma's mom has been staying with us. She's been feeling lonely since her husband passed. Emma thought it would be easier if we kept family dinners small for now. She didn't want tension." "Tension," I repeated. "Between who?" He hesitated. "You and her mom have different opinions about things. Politics, life, parenting. Emma didn't want any arguments." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "So your solution was to pretend dinner was cancelled?" Daniel's eyes filled with guilt. "I didn't think it would hurt you this much." "That's the problem," I said softly. "You didn't think about me at all." The truth that hurt the most. He looked down. "Sometimes it feels like you don't fit into our life anymore, Dad. Our routines, our pace. I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable." Uncomfortable. The word echoed in my mind. "I raised you," I said quietly, "and now I make you uncomfortable." Daniel's eyes finally met mine. "That's not what I meant." "But that's what you did," I replied. "You chose to hide me instead of including me." For the first time, I saw tears in my grown son's eyes. "I didn't realize how lonely you are," he whispered. "That's because loneliness doesn't make noise," I said. "It sits quietly, just like I did." A turning point. We sat there for a long time. No yelling, no accusations, just truth. Daniel apologized. Not the quick kind of apology people give to move on, but the heavy kind that comes from understanding the damage done. "I forgot that you're not just my dad," he said. "You're a man who lost his wife. You're a person who still needs a place to belong." That night, Daniel invited me back to his home. This time, there were no lies. When I walked in, my grandchildren ran toward me. "Grandpa." Emma looked nervous. Her mother stood up from the table. I expected awkwardness. I expected tension. Instead, Emma's mother offered me a chair. "Please sit, there's always room for one more," she said. That simple sentence felt like a door opening in my chest. Healing takes time. It wasn't perfect after that. There were still differences. Still moments of awkward silence. But I was there. I was seen. I learned something important. Families don't fall apart in big dramatic moments. They drift apart in small, quiet choices. The decision not to invite. The decision to avoid discomfort. The decision to assume someone will understand being left out. And children grow up so fast that sometimes they forget their parents are still growing old, still feeling, still needing love. Moral of the story: never lie to protect convenience. Never exclude someone to avoid discomfort. And never forget that your parents are not just old people in your life. They are human beings with hearts that can still break. Because one day, the chair you left empty at the table might be empty forever.